2 months ago, the self-governing British Crown dependency of Jersey had its most recent election. This election can be considered the island's most important election in its history, featuring a new electoral system, debate of critically important issues, and the dawn of a multi-party democracy. Political parties are a rather alien concept to Jersey's political scene, which has historically always been dominated by independent candidates not affiliated with any party. Typically, political parties have been seen as something not needed in Jersey's small and local political atmosphere. Independent candidates are seen as particular to Jersey's identity and more trustworthy than those affiliated with a party. Jersey is autonomous in its government, in its lawmaking, with its own government, elections and parliament, the State's Assembly, as you can see right behind me just here. Since the last election in 2018, Jersey is being governed by the governmental leader of Jersey, the Chief Minister, who since 2018 was John Lafondre. Now, Lafondre's government is led by the centre-right Conservative Alliance Jersey Party, which has been consistently challenged by the scrutiny panels over the past 4 years. Now, the scrutiny panels are committees that scrutinise the government and can be seen as sort of helpful members of the opposition, though not as combative as their equivalents elsewhere in the world. The chief scrutineer in Jersey used to be Kristina Warr, who is an independent politician, which is the most common type of politician that you will find in Jersey. However, the oldest and arguably most successful political party in Jersey is that of Reform Jersey, which is a centre-left social democratic party, which is led by Sam Mézec. Now, this video is just a summary of the political parties here in Jersey and also the latest election. However, if you want to find out more about how Jersey's political system works in detail, I would recommend that you watch a video that is made by the State's Assembly, which I have linked in the description and also pinned in the comment section.
The 2014 to 2018 government, led by Lafondre, was probably the most unpopular government Jersey has had in recent history, and arguably one of the worst. The government has been marred by highly controversial planning of a new hospital that has costed millions of pounds in foreign consultancy fees that was never built, and has placed the island in £1 billion in debt. Not only has the unpopular hiring of foreign consultants and the overspending on capital projects been a hot topic in the 2022 election, but also the subjects of food security, the environment, the government's handling of the coronavirus pandemic, and the worsening mental health crisis. However, the most important issue that has dominated the discussion of many islanders and politicians during the election was the population problem and housing crisis. I've already made a comprehensive video on this, which I have linked in the top right corner and in the description of this video. The sudden appearance of new political parties in Jersey was catapulted by the recent reform of Jersey's electoral system. In brief, Jersey used to have a set of politicians, that's 49 in total, 37 of which were called deputies and constables, who were elected on the local and parish level, alongside a more prestigious and senior number of politicians, 8 in total, called senators, elected from an island-wide mandate. The senators have been removed, and now all politicians are elected in local constituencies. This was done to simplify Jersey's complicated electoral system and to improve voter turnout, as Jersey has one of the lowest voter turnout and political engagement in the developed world. In Jersey's 2018 election, the turnout was only 43%, with barely 30% of those under the age of 30 turning out to vote, with half of that age range stating that they have zero interest in politics. However, the removal of the island-wide mandate has been another one of the contested topics of debate in the new election.
Jersey has had a number of political parties that have appeared and disappeared throughout its history. However, many of these manifest themselves more as polarised political factions rather than actual political parties, whilst most suffer poor electoral performances and are not seen after one or two elections thereafter, and many are set up with enthusiasm and then are never heard of again. So before the 21st century, it was practically unheard of for an established political party to survive more than two elections. And so in the past, we've seen a Green Party, a Conservative Party, a Pirate Party, and even a Jersey Communist Party. The most recent electoral reforms and initiatives to increase voter turnout has led to the establishment of a number of new political parties for the 2022 Jersey election.
In January of last year, elected politicians Steve Pallett and Steve Luce formed the Progress Party, which was followed by the foundation of the Liberal Conservative Party by former bailiff Philip Balash in July of the same year. Despite the Progress Party advertising itself as a Big Tent centrist party, bizarrely the two Steves entered into a political pact with the Liberal Conservatives just before the election. The two parties agreed to promote a joint manifesto and field cross-party candidates in the election, as well as advocating Philip Balash for the role of Chief Minister. The centre-right Progress Conservative Party's joint manifesto promotes pro-business, free market and conservative governance, advocating for a points-based immigration system, building of affordable housing and shared equity schemes to address the cost of living, maintaining low taxes, investment into education, and, of course, opposition to the new hospital. But the most surprising debut was the Alliance Jersey Party, which was formed by senior ministers of the government elected in 2018 and included Chief Minister John Lafondre. Although all members of the party were initially elected as independents, the party soon attracted 9 states members to its ranks and was the first time in Jersey's history that a government was led by a political party. The party voted Mark Boleat, a yet unelected party member, as leader of the party and advocated him to be the next chief minister. Boleat had worked as a senior member of the City of London Corporation and has lived in the UK for the past decades. The party presented itself as a centre-right, conservative and economically liberal party that advocated in their manifesto for increased building of homes to deal with the housing problem, as well as relaxing building height and other construction restrictions for houses. The party is against rent regulations, but advocated expanding the first-time buyer scheme. An outline policy of Alliance was their support for the new hospital, wanting it to be built under its planned £800 million budget as soon as possible. However, the two most advertised policies were promoting and developing Jersey's culture and international image, as well as generally continuing the legacy of the previous government and maintaining Jersey's low taxes. However, the most successful political party has been the centre-left Social Democratic Reform Jersey Party, which is headed by politician Sam Mézec. The party has seen continuous support since its founding in 2014 of its initial 3 members, which later grew to 5 members in the 2018 election. Reform is known for being the most outspoken and engaged group of politicians in Jersey, with their members having a track record of proposing the most propositions and amendments for new laws. Being long-time political campaigners in Jersey, Reform published a series of manifestos termed the Jersey New Deal that was summarised in their key pledges. To give a very brief summary of their fully costed manifesto: raising the minimum wage to the living wage, implementing their housing crisis action plan as a matter of urgency, to implement a sustainable population and immigration policy, affordable healthcare, free school meals, the removal of taxes on food and essential items, a tax break for middle and lower income earners and a tax rise for higher earners, supporting Jersey heritage and culture, investment into green initiatives and public transport, and overhauling government structure to ensure accountability and fairness.
The Jersey 2022 election has been described as an election of change, but also a shockwave, a complete disaster, and a triumph. The election saw the greatest shift of politicians being defeated, but also others being newly elected, a breath of fresh air in a political system often described as conservative and stagnant. The Conservative old guard was mostly outed, with the majority of politicians who held governmental positions in the previous government also being defeated at the polls. And numerous new politicians were elected who have been described as being in the progressive camp of politics.
But the Jersey Evening Post summarises it best with the headline, "Election Shockwaves as Islanders Call for Change, Reform Jersey Triumphant as Jersey Alliance Savaged at the Polls." The Alliance Party was utterly destroyed, losing 8 of the 9 seats, with the only remaining elected member being an uncontested Connétable seat. John Lafondre was defeated and became the first sitting chief minister to lose their seat in an election. Party leader Mark Boleat suffered an even worse result, not only being defeated but also coming last place in his constituency. The humiliation got even worse when the only elected member left the party to sit as an independent, effectively extinguishing the party from the State's Assembly completely. Reform Jersey, on the other hand, had an incredible showing and has become the largest political party in Jersey. They have elected 5 new members, doubling their number in the State's Assembly from 5 to 10. Their new members also included the first black politician to be elected in a Crown dependency, Beatrice Poré from Angola, and the first Romanian politician to be elected to a British Parliament, Raluca Kovac. The party also performed very well in Jersey's capital of St Helier, achieving a clean sweep in St Helier Central District and most seats in St Helier South. The Liberal Conservative coalition had a much more mixed result. The Progress Party had their party leader unelected, remaining a single member in the State's Assembly. The Liberal Conservatives, on the other hand, returned 2 new members out of 5 standing candidates, including Philip Balash. The result was praised for having a greater representation of women. The number of elected women in the State's Assembly has increased from 14 to 21, and the Reform Jersey Party has been able to achieve a 50-50 gender representation amongst their elected members. International observers have also noted that the election has seen great improvements in featuring greater electoral competitiveness and for being more reflective of the popular vote. However, Jersey actually saw an even lower turnout than the previous elections, at just 41.5%, raising doubts over the effectiveness of candidate conduct and the new reforms to the electoral system.
Kristina Moore, who topped the polls in Jersey's Northern Rural District, threw a hat into the ring to become Jersey's first female chief minister. This was initially challenged by Sam Mézec and Philip Balash. However, the latter quickly dropped out to endorse Moore to become chief minister. Whilst Mézec was nominated on the platform to implement his party's key policies, Moore's platform consisted of establishing a 3-month budget of minor tax cuts for lower income earners, helping businesses repay COVID-era government loans, having a thorough review of the redesign of the new hospital, building prefabricated houses to address the housing crisis, establishing a free sanitary product service, establishing a cultural centre, a landlord registration scheme, and numerous plans to overhaul the bureaucracy of government. Additionally, a number of Moore's policies aligned with that of reform, such as establishing a fund for free school meals and raising the minimum wage to £10 an hour in the first 3 months of office. After a vote by all the newly elected members of the State's Assembly, Kristina Moore was selected as the new Chief Minister.
However, Jersey's new government has gotten off to a bumpy start. Whilst Moore's cabinet has been praised for appointing a number of popular independent candidates into government, such as Kirsten Morrill as Deputy Chief Minister and Helen Miles as Home Affairs Minister, Moore has also been criticised for appointing a number of the Conservative old guard into senior ministerial positions, such as former Chief Minister Ian Gorst as Treasury Minister and former Economy Minister Philip Ozuf as the new Foreign Affairs Minister. This has led to criticism of the new Chief Minister as not enacting the type of change many of the electorate were expecting.
Whilst Reform Jersey wasn't actually invited by Kristina Moore into the new government, they have dominated the Scrutiny Panel Committees. Sam Mézec was elected as Chief Scrutineer, placing himself in the former position that Kristina Moore held before she became Chief Minister. Additionally, Reform Jersey has been able to elect at least one party member to all 6 Scrutiny Panel Committees, including having chairpersonship over 3 of those committees and deputy chairpersonship over 2. This means that Reform Jersey is effectively the opposition party to government and is in the prime position to challenge and counter-propose government policy. Reform Jersey and members of the Scrutiny Panel have already begun assessing and critiquing the new government's planned policy, which has given us an idea into how Jersey's politics will evolve and play out over the next 4 years. The Corporate Services Scrutiny Panel has already published a 32-page review of the government's 3-month mini-budget plan, making recommendation and highlighting shortcomings. Additionally, the new government has gotten off to a rocky start, with the new Minister of Housing, David Warr, being particularly criticised for establishing a supposedly independent rent tribunal panel that has been described as being full of landlords, and also receiving backlash for not taking the housing crisis seriously. If you are interested in finding out more about the future of Jersey politics, I would recommend that you read local online news articles such as those from the Jersey Evening Post, Bailiwick Express, Channel ITV, and Channel 103. I hope you enjoyed this video. Abito e Audapushen.